Hey there, it's Dave with FlipperForce. I'm going to show you how you can upload your Home Depot purchase history to FlipperForce's expense tracker using our new AI-powered bulk expense importer. So a lot of you are using Home Depot to purchase your project materials for your house flips and rehab projects. Home Depot does a nice job of offering their purchase history inside their Home Depot Pro X account. They give you a list of every single material that you've bought. And so what you can do is, instead of you sitting here manually entering this information into FlipperForce, you can actually export this information to a CSV spreadsheet and then import it into FlipperForce. So I'm going to export the details here, and if you export the details, that's going to export every single line item, every single material that you've brought from Home Depot or Lowe's, and then I'm going to import that into FlipperForce. So we have this new AI-powered bulk importer here that you can use to quickly get your expenses onto the platform. I'm just going to drag in this download that I downloaded from Home Depot here. And one thing you'll notice is this Home Depot download. This is what it looks like. So it shows us our detailed expenses of everything we've bought from Home Depot here, and it shows all the detailed SKUs, how much our quantities were of that we've purchased of each material item, and then it shows the category, class, the amounts, stuff like that. And so I'm just quickly dragging that into our AI-powered bulk expense importer. And one of the magical things that's going to happen now is it's going to automatically categorize all of these SKUs to the correct project category. So within FlipperForce, you can use it to create an estimate, you can use it to create a budget. When you do that, you have all of your project categories like vanities, paint, siding, flooring, windows, doors, all that kind of stuff. Those categories are in your project expense tracker. And what's going to happen here is the AI-powered bulk expense importer, it's going to automatically map these material items to those correct project categories. So it's basically just going to look at the SKU description here. It's going to look at some of these department names, class names, and use that to help categorize it to the correct project category for us. So, instead of us sitting here manually trying to categorize this stuff to the correct project category, so that way we can compare it to our budget, it's going to do that for us automatically. So if we go back to our expense bulk importer here, you'll see what it did for us. It automatically imported all this information here. It mapped it to the correct financial account, to our Visa account. It mapped it to Home Depot since this was a Home Depot purchase history. And here's where it's doing that project categorization here. So inside FlipperForce, we have all of our project categories here that we use to create an estimate and a budget for the project. And this is where it's doing that mapping. So it looked at the SKU information and it determined that this was a base cabinet, and it categorized that to the cabinetry project category. It saw a vanity here that was categorized to the bath in the actual spreadsheet, and it decided to categorize that to bathrooms. We've got a faucet over here. It categorized that to the plumbing category that we've got in our project. We've got a range hood. It decided to categorize that to appliances. And so it did all this categorization for us directly from that original file that we uploaded. And this allows us to quickly get that information into the platform, categorize it without sitting here manually doing that. So now all I have to do is sit here and verify it, which takes a couple seconds to verify it, make sure it's going to the correct category. I can finalize the import. Once I finalize the import, it's going to import it into our expense tracker for this project. And then what I'm going to be able to do here is see a running ledger of every single expense that I've got on this project. And so now you can see here's all of our expenses that we've imported. It's all mapped to the correct company, to the correct category, to the correct class. And then we're able to compare that to our budget versus actuals over here in our budget versus actuals section. So that's how valuable that can be. Is it's as simple as downloading your purchase history directly from your Home Depot account. It's going to take all that information of the materials that you've bought. It's going to look at the SKUs, automatically categorize it for you, and then it's going to dump it into your expense tracker here so you can compare it your budget versus actuals. One other cool thing that you can do here is you can group by transaction. So what's going to happen is it's going to look at the transaction ID from the spreadsheet. So if there were multiple receipts here in your purchase history, maybe you purchased 15 items on one receipt, 20 items on a different receipt, you'd want to potentially look back at that information to see which receipt was what. And so it's going to automatically group that information for you. So based upon the receipt invoice number, and it's going to organize it by a transaction ID. So that way you can go back and reconcile and say, okay, this receipt here was $1,500, and this is everything that was included in that, and that automatically groups that together based upon that receipt or transaction ID. So, a process that would probably take you an hour to sit here and manually enter all of these material items, we were able to do that in about 1 or 2 minutes, and everything was categorized for us. So another cool feature that we've launched in FlipperForce recently. If you want to go check it out, let us know what you think.